Alright, this is the first video I'm recording on my new phone, so there might be a noticeable difference in quality, because I got a new phone, obviously. Sorry about the background noise. Hopefully it shouldn't be too loud. So yeah, Godzilla 1998, I think is pretty underrated, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a good film. It comes close to being at least decent, but there are problems that hold it back, which I'm gonna talk about first, but obviously I want to end on a positive note, so I'm gonna talk about the good things after that. So basically, if you don't know what Godzilla 1998 is, even though that's kind of hard, I mean, has a rep, not a good one, which I think some of it's undeserved, but I could totally understand. It's basically 1998 version of Godzilla's the first American version by Roland Emmerich, the dude who made frickin' Independence Day and Midway, The Day After Tomorrow, which I think is pretty good actually. And then the shitty Independence Day sequel, which I actually have, and 10,000 BC, which interesting. There's a movie called 100 million BC that apparently is by the Asylum that had a budget of 80 million. I highly doubt that, or it was. I mean, I guess it was one of the Asylum's first films or something like that, so maybe they had actual budget, but I doubt it was that big. Either way, yeah, made a Godzilla film. Apparently doesn't like Godzilla, so that might be why Godzilla acts so different, which is actually one of my problems, actually. Sorry, I was saying actually. But yeah, I'm gonna get into the problems. For one, yeah, Godzilla is a bit too different. I'm fine with the different design change because it looks kind of cool, and I'm fine with it being, I guess, a lizard that from born kind of mutated via nuclear radiation. I think even born, because I'm pretty sure the eggs that they shot closed up on in the beginning was, I think that's also kind of born messed up because of it. I like the idea it's more grounded in reality. This is kind of like a more realistic approach, though I'm fine with the original's idea of just it being like an allegory for the terrible usage of nuclear weapons and a monster awakening, although this is a bit more realistic, still kind of unrealistic. But I don't like the fact that, I guess, I don't understand the fire thing, because it was born via nuclear radiation. That makes sense if it could, spew out nuclear radiation and stuff like that. That makes sense. I don't know why they didn't do that. That was so dumb. And what are the other reasons? Actually, I don't know why there's so many. I guess that's really my own complaint. Why did they make it fire? Nuclear radiation would have made more sense because it was born and messed up because of the nuclear radiation. That's just such a weird thing. The military is also pretty incompetent in the film. I'm not gonna lie. They don't even. They apparently want to cover up the whole egg thing and say it's a lie, but that's saying that 9/11 wasn't from planes that were hijacked. It's oh no, it's actually from meteors. It's so stupid. It's a fact. It doesn't matter. Even if it causes a lot of public outrage and stuff, you've already evacuated them. It's not like they're still in there while there's tons of I mean, they do get back in, but they could have just said, no, there's actually way more. That's leaving such a big thing that can bite you in the ass later. That's if the government found out that, let's say, the coronavirus they actually knew about for a while. They're oh no, it probably doesn't actually exist, or it'll probably just infect a few people. It's gonna bite you in the ass. It's such a dumb thing to do. Hopefully you understand what I mean. The military is pretty incompetent. They did more damage than the actual Godzilla of the film, which is just so, they're so clumsy. I'm fine with some characters being clumsy. I'm gonna get into that, into my positives. But yeah, the military is really incompetent. The four characters whose names start with Jean, the French characters, they're all there to die. They're just fodder. They're kind of entertaining, but they're just there. They're not really interesting. What else? Some of the CGI doesn't hold up that good. I'm not gonna lie about that. Some of it looks rather shitty, despite it being made even after the second Jurassic Park movie. So I don't know, oh, CGI wasn't as good at the time isn't gonna cut it. The practical effects, especially the one where it's we kind of first fully see Godzilla as that big fish pile, that practical effect where it's zoomed in, that looks really good and realistic. And there are some parts of CGI there are some CGI shots that actually look good. But sometimes, the babies, they just look almost, bright in a way. They look weird. They either don't have shadows, I think, or, they just look bright, but at the same time, not really. They look really weird. I'm sorry, that light is annoying as hell. Okay. Oh, I guess that's not how the camera's gonna work. I could just move this, but I don't know if it's actually gonna affect it. Yeah, they look really weird. Sometimes the CGI makes it almost look... I'm gonna look at some images because I don't know how to describe it. It looks kind of weird. it just looks a little bright. But I guess that's kind of it with my problems, because people saying like the characters are boring as hell and they're bland. I don't know if they're boring. They're pretty expressive. Like there's two characters who are literally parodies of Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, who are pretty entertaining. They're not like they're having seizures, like they're so expressive and like vibrant, like non-human, like in Madagascar, where they're constantly moving all over the place. They're just vibrant. They're like making funny jokes. They yell, not like Flamingo where they do it every 5 goddamn seconds. If you don't know who he is, he's like a popular Roblox YouTuber. He's kind of annoying, but yeah. I don't know, understand that whole thing. Like, they're not boring. They're actually pretty fun to watch. I did like the main characters. They were actually kind of likable, although to be fair, um, one of the main characters is a bit scummy and taking the tape. I think that was Audrey. She was kind of scummy to do that, but at least that was like the one bad thing that her character did. Like, none of the characters are really annoying. They're actually kind of likable. You kind of feel bad for them. Godzilla, you also feel bad for, especially in the end scene where you see him dying. You actually kind of feel bad for him. And yes, it's him. The reason he's able to have babies is that he reproduces asexually. And they first thought that they could lay up to 12 eggs, but it turns out there's like 200, which makes sense, I guess. But the point is, sorry about that, although I doubt you hear. But yeah, you do feel bad for Godzilla. I mean, not like where you'd cry, although, I mean, I guess I can understand that. But they do a decent job at making you feel bad, because, like, it's an animal. He's just an animal that was just scared. And if anything, the military should have been, like, they did more damage. I know that's a complaint. It's just, I don't know. It did feel a little messed up. This isn't really a flaw. This is just something I noticed. It did kind of feel messed up. I guess that was maybe the point when, like, everyone was cheering. It's like, I don't know. This isn't really anything to cheer about. It's kind of like a ironic moment. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But yeah, even Godzilla as a whole isn't that bad. Like, I understand the whole fire breathing thing is kind of dumb, and yeah, he doesn't look that good. But overall, I think it did decently as a more realistic, grounded version of, like, well, if it's just an animal. The characters are pretty good. I do like the last 30 minutes or so where they're, like, not actually, because there's, like, 10 minutes after that where they're, like, on their own with the car. But, like, before that, where they're stuck in, like, the Garden State, I think. I don't know, like, that big area with the subway and all that stuff. That kind of felt like a horror movie almost. So, like, it was really suspenseful, and I did like that. And while the only characters that died were the 4 characters whose names start with John. They were like filler characters. It was still pretty intense and cool. And there are some cool set pieces, and it was pretty entertaining. The whole film as a whole is pretty entertaining. So even if the CGI doesn't look good, the scene itself is pretty good. And the practical effects are pretty good. The explosions are all cool. There's some funny jokes, especially from the Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel parodies, who I think are actually done pretty good, even though the actual critics thought they didn't even do well. I don't know. I guess they're probably just mad. I don't know. But I thought they were done well. What else? I think it was just overall a pretty interesting movie. I did like the build-up to Godzilla's reveal. I think it was pretty well handled. I'm sorry if that's really loud. I think it was done pretty well. It was kind of suspenseful. When you did see it, I think the payoff was pretty cool. And it was pretty early on in the film, which I don't know if that's actually a problem. I think it's fine with it. I think the pacing of the film is pretty good. I think it's written. I just don't really understand all the hate. I can understand some of it, but I think it's just some of the hate's blown out proportions. Like, what was the general consensus of why this movie was sucked? Without compelling characters or heart, Godzilla stomps on everything that made the original classic. I don't know about that. I thought the characters were at least pretty entertaining, and you could actually get used to them. Oh, and I did like, again, when we didn't fully see Godzilla, all the parts leading up, like the boats being taken down and like that fishing dock being destroyed, although that was part of the scene where that wasn't even the scene where you fully see. And that mayor scene where you saw bits of Godzilla and stuff like that was pretty cool. On another minor problem, I'm sorry about that. I know it's just gonna be about positives, but there was like the scene where Godzilla was like standing by, and there's like that character Murray, who's like pretty much a scumbag, was like on the phone, but he didn't somehow hear him. Like Godzilla, I just found that kind of dumb, but that's a small thing. But overall, yeah, I don't understand all the hate. Like, the characters are kind of compelling, they're pretty interesting, and I don't know about heart. I mean, it seems like a movie that people were kind of passionate about. I don't know. At least it doesn't seem like a greedy corporate film with boring ass characters that just feel like, oh, let's make this one a feminist. Oh, let's make this one a different race just to appeal to all those people that. So they won't call us racist. It doesn't feel like it's just a checklist of things that they need to do to stay relevant or stuff like that. It feels like an actual movie with an idea. And and I think it's executed pretty well. I mean, I think the movie as a whole's, I'm stuck between mediocre and decent, but overall, I understand some of the hate, but I think it's just kind of blown out of proportions. People are like, oh my god, this movie sucks. Godzilla doesn't even act like Godzilla. I mean, I guess I'm fine with the more grounded approach. I just wish they had the nuclear breath. That would have been much better, made more sense. But I'm fine with her just acting like an animal. I like the characters, I like the set pieces, and it's pretty good. Yes, some of the CGI could have been better. Characters could have been better. Those filler characters I wish had a bit more time to be explored, although they did have some funny scenes. But yeah, overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this movie. This movie is pretty divisive among people. There's some people that love it, some people that are probably in the middle like me, some people that hate it. If you got reasons, I'd love to hear them. Totally understand. Different opinions exist. A certain fan base who shall remain nameless, oblivious friends, don't understand that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully the background noise wasn't too loud, and hopefully I'm not mumbling or talking too fast. If that's a problem, I'll try to slow down later videos, although I doubt people came this far. But I hope you understand. What are your thoughts on this film below? If you agree, whether or not you disagree, just let's have a civil discussion in the comments. Hopefully this video doesn't get mass disliked. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is. That might be a Santa 2 or 3 Carnage count. Maybe Never High Clone. I'm sorry about that dude that keeps requesting. I think that'll be next year because it's not really a Christmas type film. That's really not. I'll do that in January because that's when a lot of horror movies are released. Most are bad, but Underwater is okay, which I might do a video on. But anyway, if you liked, you can subscribe if you want. It's free. You can undo it whenever you want. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.